The following episode of the Carnival of Randomness is sponsored by an important message to you, the people, from Upsitnik and Associates. Every day there are forces that are taking from you, stealing from you. Your money, your time, your freedom. Immense faceless corporations, banks, credit card companies, insurance providers, government agencies, this list goes on and on. When you are under attack and facing crisis, turn to us, Upsitnik and Associates, attorneys for you, the people. When every day becomes a battle, we can advise and assist. We have been advocates for 40 years. Email us through upsitnikslaw.com or call us at 1-866-391-3299 or reach out to us through Upsitnik and Associates on Facebook for a prompt, no obligation communication and consultation. Don't be pushed around.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to a sort of episode of Carnival of Randomness. I say this because I have to take the blame for this one. I have a really loved, back in the day when I was a kid, coming home watching on WPIX those cartoon shows. And there was that show with the hippopotamus with the pith helmet. It was a Peter-potamus.
Peter-potamus, yes.
So for years, I've been wanting to go hot air ballooning. Now, I don't like heights, but I finally got Zach to agree. So we went, got up in the balloon. We were sailing over Lake Ontario, and yes, the worst fear I've ever had about ballooning happened. A bird came and pecked the balloon. We ended up on it, and I'm very sorry about this.
I only thought that happened in cartoons.
But it really happened. We went spinning around, and we ended up on an uncharted desert island, which in the middle of Lake Ontario is bizarre. But I'm figuring maybe Gothic Toad bought one and imported it.
I mean, it could be a man-made.
So we're sitting here, and the natives are very friendly. I think they're actually descendants of the Hawakawi tribe.
Because they wake up one morning and say, "Where the heck are we?"
And I thought I saw a Twizzlers plant, so I'm pretty sure
Gothic Toad
Toad's evolved. But they're very nice to us, and I guess they're modern, too, and they're going to have a sub deliver. They have subs bring in supplies, bring in goodies and everything.
Oh, yeah, you have to, because you can't draw attention.
So what they're going to do is we're just waiting for a sub to come and take us away. But because they've been very kind to us and nice to us and everything, we told them what we do. And they were like, "Can you do a podcast for us?" And I thought, well, we don't have any note. We don't know what we're doing. So we are Carnival of Randomness.
Yes, we are.
So there's a story Bob Dylan told one time. He's done some great American songbook albums. Somebody asked him one time, "Bob, isn't it a dangerous thing to do, a dangerous career move?" And he looked at him and said, "Oh, you mean like walking on landmines? It's music." So it's a podcast. So no, it's not dangerous or anything. It might be the worst podcast we've done, the best. It might be good, but we're just going to...
Worse than Castle of Fu Manchu?
Okay, just as bad.
No, worse than Octoman? There you go. That's something we can talk about.
That's something horrible. That's something we should watch so you don't have to. So we're just going to talk for a while, and it is randomness. We'll see what comes into our heads, and if there's anything in here, there's room for stuff.
It's a lonely place.
But one thing I was actually going to talk about, because it's that time of year in Rochester, is the Lilac Festival.
You know, I've never been to a Lilac Festival. It just seems like they just get worse and worse every year. I
actually don't remember, and I'm sure I went there as a kid. I know my mom would talk about it. All you went down there, it was for the lilacs.
Yeah.
And I think you'll hear this theme I do rant on here. I call it bigness, where something starts out as nice. It's a neat little niche thing. And then corporate sponsors, whoever, they try to get a hold of it, multi-marketing. And all of a sudden, it changes into this big blob.
Well, that's... because I drive by it occasionally when it's going on, and it just looks like line after line of people selling shit.
Well, I could speak from some experience where Tony, bless him again, from Empire Comics, he lived around there in a neighborhood, and he said him and the neighbors hated it. And the reason they hated it was because so many people would just use their street for a parking lot, literally park in front of their driveway, in the driveway.
See, you know, it's gotten ridiculous.
And it would come up where literally I would help him sometimes. They would be putting up little barricades for parking.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous how people get. And I admit, if we get off this island, I'll probably be there on the 18th because Michaela's playing, and it's Michaela. So I'd probably go. I'll make the effort. But the last time I went there, I don't even know why. I was just, I'll take a look at it. And most of the time now, the lilacs don't even bloom till about midway through.
Yeah, I was thinking that. The lilacs have been blooming later and later, and the festival never adjusted.
They do happen, but never, like, if you go early, you're not even going to see them. And actually, I will recommend Highland Park. There's a lot of beautiful plants there. Not just lilacs. There really are.
Yeah,
they have the Lamberton Conservatory there. But so went there, parked at the Colgate Divinity College. One of my friends told me to park on her street, but there'd been a lot of car break-ins. So, and then what happened was the Psychedelic Furs were going to play. So Fast and Loose were going to go. They ended up canceling, never playing. But anyway, so go down there. It's all crowded. I hate crowds.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And one of the things is they gouge the heck out of you.
Is it bad? I always had a feeling
really bad where
like
you'll see basically $22 for a couple like little wraps or something.
Oh, for God's sake!
And then they did something. There's some controversy, and I can't really talk about it because I don't know. Something with like local, like some food vendors, like they had up there where they were getting double taxed, where like they're just sort of getting screwed.
Yeah, I heard there was some grumbling about it. I don't know enough about it.
But everything's just so overpriced, and it's become something where you could just stroll around, see the lilacs. So, but again, if anybody likes it, there's a lot of bands. If anybody likes that, go to it. I mean, that is one thing. The music's free.
Right. The music's free, but everything else. I mean, speaking of overpaying, a couple years ago, went to the Super Bowl in Jerry World in Dallas. Or is it Jerryland?
Jerryland, I think.
I think it's $12 for a bottle of water. It's like, come on, man. I know it's the Super Bowl and everything, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, I have one, the Big Rib thing here again. Now, that's something, in terms of festivals, had to check out just because, and I would have people down there, we have to do local. The point of this is not to do local because you can always love Dinosaur and everything else.
Yeah.
You could get it. Why not experiment?
Exactly. You do local when you're in a place that's not where you're from.
And then again, now I'll give them credit here. Basically, it's all kinds of ribs from all over the country, Texas, Florida, St. Louis. And what you do, you get your stuff, then you have a little card, you vote on which one you think was the best.
I like stuff like that.
And actually, I thought the Florida ones were really good.
Does Florida have a specific barbecue style? Or is
They're all different styles, and I can't really say what it was. But the thing was, you watch the people working. There's a guy with the bandana, the smoke and everything.
Yeah.
And you have to wait in line. The food, I remember there was a lemonade there. I'm choking on a tsetse fly. They got tropical. How do they have tropical animals when we're in Lake Ontario?
Close to Canada. It's those damn big black flies.
Man, what the heck? But one of the things was my friend got a lemonade, didn't look at it. Cost like $22 with the plastic cup, but you can reuse the cup, not for free refill.
Yeah, no, you can reuse the cup for $20.
And the other thing they had, and I had to try it, this was at the Lilac Fest, and it's one of those things you see. It's like, for example, I was at the dollar store, and they had water balloons and bacon-flavored cotton candy, and I had to buy them, because how could you not?
That just, you told me about the bacon-flavored cotton candy, and I was thinking it's going to be repellent or... okay.
So I had to try a couple of those.
Yeah, how was it?
Well, I'm smart enough not to try it. Okay. The label's good because it's got a pig there with cotton candy.
All right, that's funny.
But I had to try some of that deep fried, the Snickers bar, the peanut butter sandwich. And I can say they are gross.
Yeah. I don't know why people... Especially, what is it? The Scottish have a reputation for the deep fried Mars bars.
That's where I think it came from, didn't it?
Why would you do that? Jesus.
Plus, there's not even. You think about combining flavors where you might have sweet. It's like chartreuse and lemon juice or something because chartreuse like this is very sweet.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not a fan of chartreuse.
Hey, so good they named a color after it. I've actually never drunk it. But that's what I've heard. So you add but this is all sweet.
Yeah, it's too much. Sweet batter over sweet chocolate. It's too good. It makes my pancreas hurt thinking about it.
But one thing we could talk about here, we could talk about something we probably wouldn't be able to do a whole episode on, but since we're just entertaining,
there you go.
Like for recipes.
Ooh.
Like in terms of that, yeah, some of that stuff. Like what's some of the more interesting recipes you've done?
Jesus.
I think he could do it pretty cool because all he did was put his hands in with the water to turn to wine, or he made fish.
Yeah, he made fish and bread out of nothing. The thing, I don't really come up with many recipes, but I'll find recipes, and I'm pretty good at following directions. But I do make a pretty good stuffed meatloaf. You make the meatloaf, roll it out flat, and layer it. I use ham and Swiss cheese, and then just roll it up like a big meat tube, because meat tube is funny to say.
Well, I use the Batista method, and Batista is a legend. He really does exist. You don't want to meet him, though, ever.
No.
But he would add, he said the one time it needed a little oomph, so we added vanilla.
Was it? Oh, that
for
was
barbecue sauce.
Yeah,
he was doing
that's
a barbecue
right.
sauce.
Yeah, he was doing barbecue sauce.
He said it was missing. So what did he do? He added a little bit of vanilla, and it was quite good.
He's also the same one that told us about the troubles with using a wok in Western stoves.
Yeah.
It's like there's no point to most Americans owning a wok, with the small base and the real high walls, because our stoves aren't designed for it. We're only going to heat the bottom, so you're losing 80% of the cooking surface.
Because that's supposed to be usually peanut oil, and it's done really fast.
Yeah, and it's in like that deep. What do they call? Oh, the breath of the dragon is what they call the flame when it shoots.
Take a look if you go to a Japanese restaurant. I know the Arigato, I think, is gone here now.
Unfortunately, I
but
think
they would have. There's some still around, I'm sure, where you get to watch the chef cooking. That's part of the experience. I know the Arigato, that was a big experience.
Yeah,
watching them cook,
was.
And you could watch. It's a lot different than cooking it at home.
Oh God, yeah, because they actually have the proper tools, the proper spices. I mean,
I use my wok now for burning papers. Like if I get like
fire pit.
Yeah, I just use it to
may as well,
torch all
'cause it's got
stuff
the high
like there
walls.
and everything. It's cool. It goes up and then I just. So that's what I use it for. But
fun.
one of the other things, of course, from Batista is the almighty Velveeta. My dad's a Velveeta man too.
I remember one of the worst things. Well, maybe not worse, but worse for me. We made fried Spam with melted Velveeta, and this was when I was.
You're not
a kid.
still drinking?
No, I'm still thirsty from it. Or when I was in South Carolina a couple years back, there was was it Carl's Jr. or was it Hardee's?
I don't know.
Well, regardless of which it was.
Hardee's I could think of because they actually did have those in when I lived in D.C.
Yeah, I know it's based on the geography.
Because they had Hardee's at...
Yeah.
Because I remember going down, doing that ride to D.C. and back, taking the car. We would go through Gettysburg and everything. I always stop at a Hardee's.
Oh, going down... Yeah. Well, they had... For breakfast, it was fried bologna and Spam on a biscuit.
Oh.
So you better believe I ate that.
Now, I've seen, actually, in Leroy John Adams' country, there's a place that has a fried bologna sub.
I'll tell you, I guess maybe I thought it was like a Western Pennsylvania thing, but I love fried bologna.
No, up here it's...
And it depends on where you get it. Some will just get like the real thin sliced that you get at the deli, or some will get the bologna log, and cut it
we used to call them the Ring of Reds.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ring of Red.
And you'll get like the half-inch big, thick bologna steaks.
Well, that was called... Actually, for Dingestan, a lot of the festivities in Buffalo back at the Polish Fest, it was called Polish steak, fried bologna.
Yeah.
And onions, of course.
Oh, you have to have onions and butter.
But you had quail eggs, too.
When I in San Antonio. If you're ever in San Antonio, down by the Riverwalk, I'm just going to throw a cheap plug at them because they're a really good bar. It's called the Esquire. It's on the Riverwalk, really good. But in any event, this was our infamous night of 4 dinners. On the way to dinner, we stopped at this, I can't remember the name of it, but it seemed so out of place. It was a Japanese restaurant in the middle of San Antonio, Texas. And they had quail egg shooters. It was a raw quail egg with hot sauce, soy sauce, and a couple other sauces. So yeah, my only quail egg experience I ever had was drinking a raw one. It was kind of good, though.
I always my mom used to get Bon Appetit, and very good magazine also because they would do a lot of historical things, but especially when I was in grad school, I would amuse myself by trying different recipes and everything.
Right.
And one of the ones I still thought was really, really good was actually a bacon cantaloupe sandwich on a croissant. And you made a base with honey, Dijon mustard, and a couple other things, and somehow... Again, balance.
Well, I know...
where, like, the taste... you would think it's something just bizarre, but the balance of taste...
Most people would, because I think... I think it was my grandfather used to put salt on his cantaloupe because he said the salt brought out the sweetness.
Yeah.
And prosciutto wrapped melon is not is not unheard of.
Yeah.
It's actually quite
Well,
common.
that's like one of the
these days.
things it struck me as weird. Everybody's done this. It struck me as weird when I was a kid, though, like during the summer especially. Mom would be getting the apple pie, and you get a piece of cheese. With
Oh,
it.
the cheddar cheese on the apple pie.
And it always struck me as bizarre, but...
I don't know why it works, but it does.
Yeah.
I can't explain it. But then there's foods that you would like to think should work. They don't. You know where I'm going with this.
I can't imagine that.
I was told by a friend up here, another Mike, we know many Mikes, to avoid a phenomenon
A lot
called...
of these mics you should avoid yourself.
To avoid a phenomenon called mustard pickles. He said it's pickles with mustard just squirted in the jar, and they pickled it in mustard. And I'm thinking, how bad could that be? If you have a hamburger or a sandwich, you'll put mustard and pickles on it. It tastes fine, right?
Yeah.
So we're at this little country, years later, we're at this tiny-ass country store somewhere in Pennsylvania. I don't even remember the city. They had on the shelf mustard pickles. And in the back of my head, I heard Mike's voice, don't eat the fucking mustard pickles. So, after we get the jar back to the place we were staying...
It's forbidden fruit by then.
We opened it up. Yeah, it's like... You know, if everybody tells you not to do something, you're going to do it just to see why they're telling you not to do it. Then I found out mustard pickles are horrifying. I don't know what happens in the pickling process, but it was like almost spicy and warm and horrifying. No.
You bet how many people out there are going to try it now.
Yeah. Please, if you try mustard pickles and survive the mustard pickles, send us an email.
Whereas one time a bartender told us to dip pickles in JMO.
So I've heard pickle juice and vodka, or pickles and vodka.
Yeah.
But never
But one
Jameson.
thing I will relate is maybe the funniest food experience I've ever had. And I might actually start laughing. And it's one of those things where I tell people out there, you might not think it's as funny as you had to be there.
Right.
But so we're going to the old Soviet Union. We're flying. It's a Fisher trip. This is from my old history buddies. So, literally, it's the day after New Year's, a couple days. I remember I was, like, massively, massively sick. And, of course, perfect timing, you know. It's snowing, horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Literally,
Russia.
Freaking 8-hour flight, basically, hold over at Helsinki. And I'm coughing my head off. Then, literally, for real, it seemed, the vodka or the air or something cured me. So, anyways, we're going over with these great Americans, going over. We're in Helsinki. We're in St. Petersburg, and everybody's starving. It's been, like, so long. So we go in there.
Flight.
So we're in the hotel. We get out, a bunch of my buddies and I. We're going in there in the ballroom. We go in there, see the plates, and it looks like what's a dead parakeet on the plate and a piece of sardine. And literally, like, the look at her.
Was it a parakeet?
The way they did it, I don't want to know. But it was sort of bloody and gross, so we're looking at it. Literally, Dr. Biskupski takes the sardine, flings it over his shoulder. So then it's like one of those things, it's almost like a comedy with the Stooges or Laurel and Hardy. They're serving entree, they're serving stuff. It's like almost like Young Frankenstein. Yeah. We're getting different stuff. It's like, this is going to be good. And then my friend Matt looks at me. I'm sipping the mineral water. And goes, how strong your stomach? It's like, don't tell me. He points toward it's all this sediment like this on the bottom. And literally, a woman across from us just drank it, sees me, and spits it all over the place. So we're like a bunch of people on laughing gas. Course after course is coming. We get the aspic, and we're just laughing our head off. And literally, we get those giggles after, especially being overtired, hungry.
Right.
Where we're like dying and everybody's looking at us. So we get this stuff, it looks like stew. So it's like we get bread. And actually, one thing, if you ever go there, the breads are really, really good. I'll give them that. So we do this. We try eating it. It seems a little tough, but you'll eat a lot of stuff. And it's almost like you're so hungry you could eat So we're in, and then we're thinking, where do they get the beef and everything? Dr. Biskupski goes, oh, yeah, that's horse.
Yeah, wasn't beef.
I literally, ran out to the freaking to get to my room to bar.
Wait, so after eating horse, you had the trots?
Oh, it was hilarious a couple of those times. But it was just literally one of those experiences when you were there. We were laughing so hard. So when we got to Warsaw, after many good drinking bouts, which was the different story in itself,
Right.
we got to Warsaw, so we get to the hotel there. And actually, Doc knew Lech Walesa and everybody, and he knew everything about Poland. Ask Fred and the Goose.
Oh, yeah.
He had him on his Rolodex. So we had this really good hotel. We get down there. There's this incredible buffet. It looked like people who were basically hadn't eaten for 50 days descending on that buffet.
So you weren't a fan of the horse, huh?
It looked like Bluto in Animal House, the way everybody
you
was
go.
piling up stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that was
I'm a
actually,
zit.
it's one of those experiences that was so funny, though. It was just, because we drank most of our food there, but that was just hilarious how it was just being overtired and seeing what looked like Tweety on your plate and a piece of sardine.
Well, was that Soviet surf and turf?
Remember, this was the Soviet
Yeah, I know. I was
Union,
going to say,
too.
because
That's
you've
the
never been
thing.
to Russia.
And literally, a friend of mine warned me, said, it's basically a third world country with guns.
Yeah,
that's what
you know
it
what?
was.
For those that study history, that really was what the Soviet
And there's a
Union
site
turned
I'll never forget where I like to travel off grid. So I'm walking around with my friend, and we're walking around Moscow. And one of the things you would see some stores, actually Sweden owned a lot of stuff, different stores there, but there was a McDonald's, and literally around in Moscow.
in pre-Russia, in the Soviet era, there
They
was
had like an
McDonald's?
IKEA. Yeah, there was. They had. Oh yeah, they were.
I mean, I can
they weren't a
understand-
closed off country completely like
No,
that.
but still, it
And
just
this
seems
was
so weird.
Gorbachev and
Oh,
everything
okay.
too.
That's right.
There was like a
Gorby.
line around the block to go in McDonald's.
Yeah, because probably a lot of those guys had never seen a McDonald's.
And the thing
before.
was, if you were an American and you were American money, you could walk right in. But the spectacle of who here would wait around the block to go to McDonald's?
Yeah, not many people, I don't think.
That was almost like the thing for going in a Pizza Hut in Helsinki. You know, the difference with that. Finland's beautiful, massively overpriced. And I think somebody ran up a $120 bill at Pizza Hut.
Jesus Christ, what the hell were you eating?
I don't know, but I remember being in a casino in Warsaw, and I did the whole James Bond thing. Had to be a pretentious twit, like vodka martini,
Yeah.
which was quite strong. So we're drinking down there, and we get a bill for 600,000 zloty. And it was like basically the Scream.
Yeah.
So we're not leaving. We're going to be sent off to a
Yeah,
freaking.
but then the question becomes,
it
how
was
much is
about
600,000 zloty?
They're like $20.
Oh.
But we have it. One of my friend Matt has it framed.
Well, that's the thing with, and actually this is a funny point, because you look at exchange rates, since we're just going randomly, the American dollar is quite strong in some countries. You can, go to Southeast Asian countries, some African countries, and you can get 10,000 or
Remember the joke from Euro Trip?
maybe?
They're traveling in Europe. So they're in Western Europe. Everything's massive. They get to Eastern Europe. They get to a hotel. It gives them a nickel for a tip. He's like, I'm going to buy the hotel.
Yeah, I own the hotel. But you look at it like, 10,000 to 1, let's say. And you think, oh, I'm going to be rich. But then you have to remember, what can 10,000 of whatever buy you?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've got 50,000, what, just random currency, like,
Dinars.
yeah, 50,000 dinars. What do I buy with it? Do I buy a house? Do I buy a cheeseburger? Do I buy a horse? How much can this buy me?
Well, it was interesting.
We don't know.
It was interesting because one of the things was when you get out of there, they don't stamp your passport. It's like you were never there. They'll let you keep 1 ruble. But Doc said, make sure you exchange some money just because for your thing to say what you spent.
Yeah.
So we're at the hotel having the biggest problem. Number one, they're using an abacus. The woman can't speak English. Oh, the horror is being in Russia where the woman couldn't. The nerve, you know.
Yeah, the nerve.
Plus, we were being followed around by KGB agents who were something out of like Boris and Natasha. It was so funny.
Yeah, but they wouldn't
So
be as
then
comical,
I'm
I
trying to
don't think.
exchange money. A guy goes behind. Yo, American, gives me the money. I'm like, I want the money, you dummy.
Yeah.
But the thing is really you appreciate things there where it's amazing what they don't have or didn't have in those days.
Well, I think that's what it is. You look at the stuff we have here that we take for granted, and you go to a country like the old Soviet Union. Yeah, it's not so much the same.
No, and there was one scene in particular. We were at the circus, And there was a family in front of us, and the little girls looking at me. And one of the things they said to bring over a little bit was gum, because they can't get it. So I had fruit stripe gum, and I asked, like, the parents I'm motioning, can I, give this to her? And she took the gum, and she held it like somebody gave her gold or something. You think, geez, let's go down to the store and buy it here.
Yeah. And exactly.
That's what I always say when people ever complain about here, go somewhere else for a while. And,
well, I guess...
Like here, we're stuck here, but at least they're nice.
Right. It reminded me back in 1990 when... all right, now we're going to shift to hockey, but it's also kind of similar.
Well, we do whatever the hell we want, I guess.
When the Penguins...
You guys okay out there? Is this all... That guy's sleeping.
Yeah. No, that guy's dead.
Oh.
He ate the horse stew. But when Jaromir Jagr was drafted by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and he was coming from, at the time, Czechoslovakia. We know it's not Czechoslovakia
Czech
anymore.
Republic.
Yeah, he's from the Czech part. The first thing
Not the balances part.
But ching. He bought, like, just pairs and pairs and pairs of blue jeans and would send them back home.
I heard about that.
Because I guess blue jeans were...
they told us, they were...
very high commodity in the old, the Eastern
Especially
Bloc.
Levi's, especially if you had a brand.
Yeah, Levi's brand, not... But and we're looking at it, it's like, that's weird, because we can just go down to Sears or whatever and get jeans.
Yeah. I'm actually, because this is the whole thing that can pop up. My recent reading, I've been reading about a Peter O'Toole biography, and the guy was mighty nuts. And actually, there's a couple stories you reminded me of one. He used to room with Richard Harris all the time. This is one of those stories that probably is not true. So they come home from a boozing bin, and they're starving. So they go look in the refrigerator. Wherever we used to be, they left a pork chop that looked like it was 500 years old.
Oh, God.
So they're looking at it going, we better not. So the story goes, they fling it out the window. So they go leave the next day. It's gone, but they see a dead dog out there.
Something like that, it very well might have happened.
And one other story about them that I thought was really funny. So they're doing a play, and they're staying in a real posh, as they use the word, hotel in England.
Right.
So they're in there one day. It's pouring out. It's really terrible. It's terrible.
In England? No.
It's really bad. It's like a hurricane. So they're in there, and they got this last day in there, and they blew through the amenities, everything, got the huge bill, and then they dawns on them they don't have any money to pay.
Oh, shit.
So Richard Harris says, okay, here's what we're going to do. Take all your clothes off. So they take all the clothes off. They wrap them in little bundles and throw them out the window into the side street. So then they go down in robes, and the concierge looks at them. What are you doing? We're going swimming. And what is this? It's terrible. Something's going to happen. We're Irishmen. We're tough. So they go out. They go outside. They run around the corner. They go get dressed, and they haul away without paying. So story goes, years later, Richard Harris, famous, he's back at the hotel. That same concierge is there. Oh, and he's like, oh, my goodness. So she looks at him and says, oh, Mr. Harris, we were afraid you two drowned. And let's take these stories. Hey, they're good stories.
You know what? That's funny. It doesn't matter if it's true or not.
As Peter O'Toole said, never ask what you did. It's better not to know. And Harris always said, there are years I don't remember.
Yeah, I've heard that about him. But see, stories like that are funny. The urban legend type stories.
Yeah, especially those. And you know what? A lot of them I think, because I've heard stories like, you think about something you did years ago, you get it wrong. But figure something true, and then you just embellish it a little because you don't remember.
Right. It's, what was that game we played as kids? The telephone game. Where you'd start at the back, and the one person would think up a word or something. Or
I was so bad at that.
I was terrible.
The one I was
bad at.
Shit. The one I was bad at, where they would say something about your classmates about your eye color. It was weird. Like you tried to remember. Oh, the one was, you got into the circle. You had to whisper something, and then it would be something totally different.
Yeah. By the time I think the Simpsons kind of made a play off of that. It gets to the very end and said, you have to go here, Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
Yeah.
Like, just this shit like that is funny. It's just slight embellishment, but it makes it funnier.
We would have show and tells, too, and stuff and everything.
Oh, Lord.
And I remember I would bring in a banana for yellow, and it would be even more moldy. But I thought back
There's yellow in there,
one of
damn
those
it.
embellished stories, one of the legendary stories from college was the case of the keg escapade, which was years ago. It's when we were, I think, freshmen. We loaded a keg up and took it up to a dorm. Now, the story goes, everything did that. We were running from the cops across campus with the keg. And actually, and this was a story, and I would hear people come up to me for years telling me about the story. And what really happened, we were in a dorm room, and we were getting a little loud. It was a beer ball, because think about it, who's going to carry a keg?
Yeah, the kegs are very heavy.
And at that time, I made a scarf out of toilet paper. So what happened was we're in one of the main dorms, and security comes, some Keystone cop. And he's going, got to get the keg. We got to hit in the bathroom. Jim Vito just literally picks it up, takes it, starts running. So then we start running. We run across campus, get to the car, take off. We're going to go across the street. Right. We get stopped by security. Literally, one of our stories was always going to be, we're just people visiting.
Yeah.
Security guy knew us from our high school.
Oh, son of a bitch.
He went there, and he let us go because of that. I still have no idea who that guy was. And then all we did was we took it, Murphy Hall, ground floor, and strung it through a freaking bush. But that was the official story because it took on legendary proportion where we were getting chased by the police all the way through Pittsford. But that's how it goes. All these things.
Eventually the army was involved.
Literally, we're running across campus carrying a keg.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you're just running with a party ball.
Yeah. Just think about it.
Beer ball.
But again, think of the logic of that. So, you got one guy who's going to pick a keg up and carry it.
Yeah, that ain't happening. And worse is if two people are carrying it, you can't run.
It's always that I heard.
Like, well, I know somebody that said this.
Yeah.
And and you have to think about it. I think I've mentioned it before on here, but those were the first viral videos.
Yeah.
And they spread like wildfire. And there was no communication, no cell phones, no internet. But yet people, across campus that had never met you knew the story.
Yeah. Oh, the rumors, people would know you. I always had that scary thing where people would sort of know your rep.
Yeah.
About, like, with you and your friends, and you wouldn't never even met them.
Right. Like, who are you? Like, yeah, I know you. How?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
But it's weird. It's like by osmosis or something.
It's something.
But that's what my friend, think about, like, all these things that are out there, all these trivial things. And, like, one of my friends was talking to his son, I guess, and he was going on complaining about the world, saying people are fake. And his son looked at him and said, no, we've lowered our standards. And I don't know how that goes. A little bit, it's like, I think a little way, again, this almost goes back to some Rageonomics, where we're distracted. Like, if we were stuck on this island, we'd probably cultivate growing papayas, like I see, even though, again, on Lake Ontario, it's one of these.
It's a weird Hot Pocket.
Yeah.
Not sponsored by Hot Pocket.
Yes, but it's amazing that I think we're very distracted.
I think you're absolutely right. And you have to look at this. The decline really seems to have come with the advent of social media.
And a lot of it, and actually, that I know Jeff was saying for another Rageonomics, he wanted to talk, one topic was social media, good, bad, and ugly.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a fun one, especially with... He needs to emote more, damn it, though. Yeah. I mean, he's going to give himself a heart attack.
Well, I had one back in the day. I've never done, like, any of those online dating things. Come on.
I tried it once, and it said no compatible matches within 350 miles.
Yeah, I mean...
there you go.
But I remember, like, saying my friend was doing one once, and he showed me this profile, and I'm looking at this, like, she uses some line, like, something on acid or something. It was like a line for me. I said, that's from Caddyshack, dude. But I remember a sad one. This was just really, really sad. One of my friends got divorced, and he's got a very sort of odd logical mind. Where he would talk about dating, how you go through, I think he went like 6 through 64 different ones, none of them compatible.
Wow.
But he had one, saw the picture of her, and I remember we went to a place in Pittsford, and he brought me along as like the third wheel, just saying, can you just go by the bar and like pretend now, give me a signal if this doesn't work out right.
Yeah, I'll give you the Iggy.
So literally,
you come and get
he's
me.
sitting there waiting for her and mentions his name, and he's looking at her. Is this somebody? Because he does a lot of stuff from work. Is this a client?
Right.
It looked totally not like the person at all.
What? Someone lied on an internet dating profile?
And then after that, she's saying, well, I wanted you to get to know me. And it was... And basically, he handled it well, though. I give him credit. There was no nastiness.
Well,
what he said was, I'm sure you're perfect for someone, but it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
But his things were hilarious. It's just, they were like sad.
And the thing is, nobody really worried about the online dating fears until the Craigslist killer.
Well, I think it's sort of scary because I think people online
are freaky.
They're going to lie.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody
because you can hide behind a computer screen.
Yeah, it's not real. And I think a lot of times, I know the people in my life, I've always just been like good old word serendipity or something, or mutual interests. But I can't see any ways like some chemical formula. They could have somebody, oh, you're perfect for this person, that's, and then you can't stand each other.
That's the thing. Like, you see these commercials like, well, we match you based on 128 points of compatibility. Well, what the fuck are they?
I had a laugh. I'm
curious.
I was just thinking one time, I find media a lot of times bizarre.
Oh,
but one time I saw an article in a paper. They're talking about how to be sociable and everything and how to get all this stuff. And one of the things was, when you go out, act like you're having fun because people will want to have fun and they'll be by you.
Jesus Christ.
And it's like, there was the same thing that tried to say how to go to the bathroom in the woods. There was an article on that.
That's pretty easy if you ask me.
Yeah.
I've pissed in the woods many a time.
Yeah. But one thing I was thinking about, since we could talk about anything, and was time travel. And the reason I'm doing this, have you seen Endgame, or do you care to see it?
I'll see it eventually. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, one of the things, I'll give some stuff away, there's a time travel idea, and they try to at first set it up where then they blow it like everybody does.
Well, of course. It's the time travel trope.
Yeah. So should I talk about it at all or not? Or
about time travel?
Or the movie?
Go ahead if you want. Eric, here, just so you know, spoiler alert for the next 3 minutes.
Yeah. Well, one of the things they talk about, they do the whole, if Hitler, let's go kill. They find a way to go back in time.
Oh, is this whole thing, let's go back and kill Hitler and none
of
this
what
shit,
happens what happens is Scott Lang pops out of the, what's it called? The little universe thing he's flying around in. Because remember in the Ant-Man movie, they vanish and he's stuck in there?
Yeah.
They presume him dead.
But you knew he was coming back.
He pops out the quantum realm. He pops out 5 years later and he finds out what happens. So he goes to the remaining guys and says, hey, I think we can, go back in time, get the stones. So then somebody brings up the Hitler thing. And then either one of the smart guys says to him, you can't do that. Because it doesn't work that way.
No.
So literally, the way they go around, what happens is some people, you get in the back. So, okay, if you're in the past, and you left yourself in the past, you never would have done this. So how could you have done this in the first place?
Precisely. Because, and this is my, we know time travel is theoretical.
Well, we did it on here. A lot of people thought that was a joke.
That's true.
I mean, that was minor, kind of. I don't think we really affected
it was only 2 weeks.
Much.
But if you go back in time to alter some event, you have to remember that the world you left, the world we're in now, is because of everything that's happened before. If you change one thing, who knows what the hell is going to end up. Like, say you go back, I'm going to kill Hitler and save all those lives. Okay, that's an admirable thing. People would want to do that. What are going to be the long-term consequences?
Or some other guy could have popped up.
Right. It could have been somebody worse.
You know what could have happened? There was always a thing, again, going back to the great Dr. Biskupski, where suppose it was Stalin and the Soviet Union who took over everything.
Exactly. Without Hitler in the way, maybe Stalin would have rolled over Europe.
But it just makes your head go. It's like the whole Back to the Future thing. So
it is, and it makes you wonder, and even it could be something just so insignificant, but it could have drastic consequences.
The old Ray Bradbury story, the butterfly effect, where they go, they have time travel to go see dinosaurs, and you're told they search it out. They always pick something near death. They mark it. You're supposed to stay on the path. So there's a T-Rex. The guy there freaks. Falls off the path. They come back and the world's completely different. And he looks on his shoe and he stepped on a butterfly.
Yeah. And it was an old Simpsons thing. They go back in time. He squashes a mosquito. It's like, but there was only one little insignificant mosquito. It won't affect that much. Right? Right? But really, nobody thinks about it. But everybody thinks, time travel would be really cool.
It's one of those goofy what-ifs, like you always, I wish I would have done this. Say you went back to high school, you might make your life a lot worse.
Right. You want to avoid, tripping and falling down the stairs, let's say, in front of your crush. Okay, you do that. You know, but now what happens if you shit your pants in front of her? Which is worse, falling down the stairs or dropping a load in your drawers?
I can tell you. I can tell you now that you brought that up. I know. I will tell you. You have something there because I remember. I will not name this person, but there was somebody in grade school who did that in grade school.
Oh, who duked?
He did it in his pants, and he did it in his pants. Now, the thing was. He pissed himself.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then down the line...
He's now a CEO.
We have the case, actually, it gets like this. Down the line, there was the case of the fart. Where, you were... This is like 6th grade. This is real.
Coming next week, Rob and Zach in the case of the fart.
This was 6th grade. No, this is one of my biggest mysteries in life. This was 6th grade, and we got left, for whatever they do that.
Right, yeah.
Somebody cut...
Oh, and you're trying to figure, and nobody to this
literally no, and you have to remember, in memory, it sounded like thunder.
Right.
And I remember a couple of my friends turning red, nearly falling off the chair. And it seemed like laughter going on. We never knew who did it. There was one kid in class. He was proud of him.
Yeah.
But he seemed pissed. He seemed like, man, this guy topped me.
Yeah.
So we never knew who did it.
Him out.
We never knew who did it. So years later, one of my friends does the big reveal. It was like one of those big moments of my life where he told me you did it because the kid sat in front of him. And I guess he coughed and blew it. And I said, well, why didn't you say anything? He goes, he's the same one who peed himself. And all he was ever known is he actually seriously went on to become a doctor, for real.
Yeah.
He became known just basically as the guy to this day.
It's like, and now accepting the Nobel Prize. Hey, that's the guy that pissed himself.
So he said basically he was worried for his state of mind if he was also known as the kid who blew one in class.
Oh, I actually did that. I was taking it when I was at U of R. It was finals week. We were taking a final, so you know how quiet the study room is. Then the sneeze fart occurred, and I was so concerned about not, having a very loud sneeze and disturbing anybody, I tried to choke it down, and it came out the other end.
We're rolling now.
It was one of those painful ones.
I've had the ones when I've had to really got to pee or something in class and I'm dying.
Yeah.
And then literally you're sweating, you're dying, you're like, what am I going to do? And then as soon as that thing hits class over, freaking book.
I had that coming back from a high school football trip. Because we were on the bus. And we were wearing our pads, for the most part. Like, you'd take your shoulder pads off, you'd your pants. So I'm just sitting there literally rocking back and forth, trying to think of any thought other than what's going to happen when we get back to
now we're really hitting a high point doing this. But one of my friends, we were golfing one time. He got diarrhea, and he literally sped with the car back to the clubhouse.
Oh, well, hopefully he made it.
We never heard anything, but he still remembers it. He still remembers. But the thing was, he said he went in there, and the bathroom was out of order, so he had to go someplace else.
Oh, Lord.
But so we're hitting high notes on this now.
You know what? That's you see what happens when we're left to our own devices and don't have a script.
So if we're lost or trapped on, we could do this again sometime.
You know what? This is now going to be known as Fart Story Island.
Yeah. But, it's a purpose, too. If we ever do these, it is stuff like we don't think we could really have a whole episode of.
And yet, I'm clocking, we're at 42 minutes.
I was gonna talk about candy and different things, too, like cowlicks and everything.
Oh, Lord, that's a throwback.
So we might actually do one on, old-fashioned treats.
Yeah, old-fashioned treats, and unfortunately, we have to mourn the loss. How long ago of Candy Nation in Fairport?
Yeah, I don't know. It was gone.
And that's sad, because everything's closing down.
Yeah, that's the thing I'll almost end this with. One of the things is I've been noticing that more and more going around to places. You go there where there's something you knew and it's gone. Actually, there's the plaza by my old grade school. There used to be a roller skating rink. Then B. Foreman's. And I got my Darth Vader costume there and like some...
Oh, okay.
But now it's all different stuff.
Right,
everything's all... And you look, and I'm almost getting to that point now where, hey, that used to be that,
yeah.
that used to be that. And my dad... still cognizant about old stuff like we're driving around. Oh, that was there. It's amazing. Right. And then the best ones are when you go down somewhere. When did that close?
Well, exactly. Like, to grow more farms out in Henrietta.
Yeah.
Just shuttered.
Yeah.
And that's sad. You know, especially because it's not the big national chains that are going under; it's the local.
And we're going to
businesses.
see the end of Reed's Ice Cream, not because it's going out of business. Old Man Reed has decided his wife passed away in January. I guess he made a promise to himself he's going to retire at 75. He's 77. He just kept going. His son works for the Gulf Network in Orlando. He's going to go down and live there. He put up, so if anybody's got about 600,000, he's going to give you everything in there.
Yeah, so keep it Reed, keep it ice cream, keep the sandy
He's
beach.
going to give you the secrets of Reed.
The secret recipes of Reed's. And if you've never been there, it's actually a very
I'm going to
cool
get
place.
my dad down there before.
I got to go there
because he's
going to
stay open, I guess, until he sells it, I guess. So.
Right. So if you have the money, buy it, just not yet.
Yeah.
Because we need another ice cream sundae or two.
Yeah.
So anything else before we hijack a sub and get out of here?
Well, one of the things, I had a really interesting night the other night. I went to see Primetime Funk, who were very professional, very good. The keyboardist was cranking on there. It's like amazing, all the vocalists, everything was really good. So I went from there to the Spirit Room to see, of course, our dear Tommy.
Oh,
with the debut of Straight Johnny and the Gash Goblins album, which we don't have the visual, was packed in baloney. You've seen it.
Well, actually, we do have the visual. Because you
wanna
sent it to me.
If you want to put it up, because I got rid of the baloney before it stunk the house up.
Well, I mean, yes, you were right to do so. But I have the picture of it.
If you go from the difference, you have professional musicians playing really good set, really great music. Check out Primetime Funk.
Oh, absolutely.
So you go to the Spirit Room, which is a thing in itself. You have all my friends drunk off the gourds, freaking loud as all hell. Tommy's dressed like, wait till you see Straight Johnny. Yeah. We have burlesquers from Bewitched Burlesque Sideshow.
And meat CDs.
Yes, and meat CDs. But I promised Tommy I would play him a track. And now the problem with this is we could probably get something to play it on here. You guys got something? Yeah, they'll crank it up.
They've got a thing.
I don't know one of these that won't get pulled because some of these are pretty bad.
Well,
so
okay,
why don't you just pick a number and we'll just play that track, and if you could read it.
All right, so how many numbers are on
19.
19. All right, 19. Well, let's go with number 8.
Okay, what's it say?
Number 8 is Not On My Waaatch, Thatcher? Oh, Thatcher Boy.
Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher,
Okay.
probably, because they're playing. That's probably not one of the bad ones, because there's like a song about Hitler on there.
Well,
there's a song called Fuck Off.
So does this album have a title?
Yeah, Straight Johnny and the Gash Goblins. It's
the meat album.
It's full of baloney, basically.
Oh, full of baloney?
No, that's what I've been calling it. It's sort of got a title.
Well, it was before the baloney juice got on it.
So it's Straight Johnny and the Gash Goblins, their first debut, and it's
all right. So their debut album entitled "Not on My Waaatch," Thatcher Boy.
So
parentheses Thatcher Boy.
Sorry, and apologies for this already.
And explicit lyrics, blah blah blah.
Yeah, and this is probably one of the better ones because some of the other things, if we would have picked them, they probably would have yanked the episode.
Yanked. And on the yank joke, we're gonna paddle the hell out of here. That's Rob. I'm Zach. We're Carnival. We're stuck, and we're out of here.
See ya.
See ya.
My mother rang me on the phone, tells me the vote for the Liberals are on my watch. Oh yeah, not on my watch. The man on the telly says we're insane to let that tax up on the plates are on my watch. Oh yeah, not on my watch. Not on my watch. Oh yeah, not on my watch. My ex-wife says transport's late. What's 20 quid to the bloody middle bake? Not on my watch. Oh yeah. Prepare for my doom. And the man on BBC One says, let's prepare for Armageddon. But fuck, all I could say is, hey, I sure would like to fuck Theresa May.
Not on my watch!